from the shadows of the radio towers. This is the GayPHX Podcast, your community radio on demand.
It's gonna be a good day, and everything is going to go my way. It's gonna be a good day. The sun is shining bright and it's here to stay.
Hey everyone, it's Billy with GayPHX, and wow, it feels great to be back behind the microphone. I honestly miss this more than I can put into words. Getting to sit down each week and share what's happening around our community, introduce you to some incredible people, and just spend a little time together. It's something that I don't take for granted. Being behind this mic feels like coming home. And before we jump into today's interviews, I've got a few thank yous. First, a huge thank you to Pup Delos and everyone at Amory Pack. They stepped in over the past month to help keep the podcast going while I disappeared behind the scenes to catch up on some projects that desperately needed my attention. And if it wasn't for their help, I honestly don't think I could get caught up like I am today. They gave me the time I needed, and I'm incredibly grateful for everything that they did. I also owe you all an apology. I know many of you have been asking about music.gayphx.com, and I promise it hasn't gone away. It's very much in the works. I simply had to put it on pause while I tackled some client projects that help keep the lights on around here. And sometimes that's just the reality of building a community organization. We have to make sure the business side stays healthy so that we can keep building things for everyone else. And speaking of that, if your business or even your nonprofit is living inside of spreadsheets, we'd love to help. Head on over to 1lpro.com. Yes, that's one, the letter L, pro.com, because yes, it's Billy with 1L. And we specialize in helping organizations move from scattered spreadsheets into systems that actually work for you, saving time, reducing headaches, and letting you focus on what you do best. And by the way, if you're missing the pups this week, trust me, we are too. We've been talking about ways to keep them involved because they brought such fun energy to the podcast, and I don't think any of us were ready to say goodbye. Nothing's official yet, but we're working on it, and as soon as we have something more to announce, you'll be the first to know. I also missed being able to check in with all of you. So one of the things that we've been working on is doing daily live check-ins on the GayPHX stream. We'll be doing daily updates and talk about what's happening around the community, what's new with GayPHX, and whatever else is on our mind that day. Think of it as grabbing a cup of coffee and hanging out, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And don't forget that the GayPHX stream that we have goes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with local interviews, LGBTQ plus music, community from Lookout News, event updates, and so much more. You can listen anytime at gayphx.com or find us on TuneIn and many of your favorite streaming apps. Now, today we're talking with someone who believes that photography isn't just about taking pictures, it's about helping someone see themselves in a whole new light. From capturing authentic moments to helping create opportunities for local queer artists through Tempe Queer Takeover, today's guest reminds us of how powerful art and community can be. So, after your Desert Den Daddy is my conversation with photographer Jimmy Anderson. In the meantime, take it away, Brian.
You're listening to GayPHX, where community comes first.
Hey, Phoenix. I hope you've been staying hydrated because this week's forecast calls for a 100% chance of fabulous with scattered togas. Seriously, I don't know who woke up and said, you know what this city needs? More drag, more leather, more ancient Rome. But to whoever you are, grazie. This week we've got a fundraiser that's tying our community together for an incredible cause. A toga challenge where your inner Caesar gets exactly 5 minutes to become a fashion icon. And an afternoon at the Roman baths, that's giving Spa Day a leather twist. And trust me, by the end of this Hop 3, one of you is going to be standing in front of a mirror wrapped in a bedsheet saying, I could pull this off. Spoiler alert, you probably can. Phoenix, Daddy's found 3. This is Brian's Hot 3, your glitter-drenched, community-approved Desert Den Daddy guide to where you need to be this week. Hot pick number 1, Fit to be Tied Together at Cobalt, Thursday, August 6th, 10 p.m. Now this is how you turn a night out into a night that matters. The Fit to be Tied fundraiser brings together drag, community, education, and fundraising into one unforgettable evening hosted by the always entertaining Circus du Soleil. The night features raffles, kink demonstrations, aftercare discussions with dominatrix Amisa, and a special live stream appearance from the actor Jason Serreras, who you may recognize from Al TV. It's fun, it's educational, it's entertaining, and it's proof that our community knows how to support one another while having an absolutely fabulous time doing it. Besides, any fundraiser that includes drag queens and raffles already has my attention. Hot pick number 2, the Great Roman Toga Challenge, Anvil, Saturday, August 8th, 10 p.m. Okay, I need everyone to take a moment and appreciate this concept. You get a sheet, some props, 5 minutes, and absolutely zero excuses. Hosted by Mr. Anvil Phoenix 2025 Ben Calderon, the Great Roman Toga Challenge asks one very important question. Can you transform from everyday citizen into Roman royalty before the clock runs out? Whether your toga ends up looking like Julius Caesar or a fitted bedsheet that lost an argument, you're going to have an amazing time. No cover charge, just bring your creativity and maybe a friend who knows how to tie a knot. Because not every hero wears a cape. Some wear fitted sheets. Hot pick number 3, a day at the Roman Baths, Anvil, Sunday, August 9th, 2 to 5. Close your eyes and wait for a second. Picture ancient Rome. Now add leather. Welcome a day to the Roman Baths, part of Arizona Men of Leather's incredible Roman holiday weekend. This is your invitation to slow down, socialize, browse local merchants and artisans who enjoy demonstrations, and begin your afternoon with a complimentary continental breakfast worthy of the Senate. Need your boots looking imperial? Joe will be on hand with expert boot blacking service because even emperors appreciate a good shine. You'll also have a chance to win an amazing Melrose Yoga prize package featuring a $100 gift certificate, a yoga mat, and accessories to keep your body and maybe your toga properly aligned. Luxury, leather, laughter, relaxation. Honestly, the Romans may have been onto something. Phoenix, you know what I love about this week? It reminds me that our community has never been afraid to get a little creative. One night we're raising money for an incredible cause, the next we're turning bedsheets into high fashion. And by Sunday, we're channeling ancient Rome with just enough leather to make Caesar blush. Only in Phoenix, only in our community, and honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. So whatever adventure you choose this week, support the people putting these events together. Thank the volunteers, tip your entertainers, compliment somebody's toga, even if it looks like they wrestled with their linen closet and barely won. Because sometimes the best conversations begin with, I love your outfit, even when it's technically bedding. Thank you for making GayPHX part of your week. Thank you for supporting our local businesses, entertainments, nonprofits, and organizations that work every day to make Phoenix one of the most vibrant LGBTQ plus communities anywhere. Most of all, thank you for showing up, because every time you attend an event, every time you invite a friend, every time you support a local venue, you're helping this community continue to thrive. Now go have some fun, make some memories, and if somebody calls you Your Majesty while you're wearing a toga, don't correct them. Just wave regally and keep on walking. Until next time, coming to you from the shadows of the radio towers, I'm Brian, your Desert Den Daddy, and that's what's hot.
Want all the details? Head over to GayPHX.com, your one-stop shop for queer events, promos, and everything happening in the Valley.
History remembers the Empire. Legends remember the gladiators. But Phoenix is about to remember one unforgettable Roman holiday. This August, Arizona Men of Leather transforms the Anvil into ancient Rome, where emperors are crowned, togas become high fashion, pizza is fit for Caesar, and gladiators battle for your applause. Experience a day at the Roman Baths, feast at Pizza Maximus, then witness the epic finale, the Grand Roman Forum, Auction of the Gladiators. Join Arizona Men of Leather, August 8th through the 15th at the Anvil. The Empire is calling. Will you answer?
This is what community sounds like.
This is Amanda Renfrew, enrolled agent with The Tax Person with your tax year countdown. In Arizona, contributing to a 529 plan before December 31st can provide state tax deductions or credits. If you're saving for education, yours or someone else's, check your state rules now. Get support with the free 15-minute consult at thetaxperson.com or look for me as The Tax Person on socials.
More stories, more voices, more pride. You're tuned in to the GayPHX Podcast.
Today on GayPHX, we're shining a light on someone whose lens is focused on authenticity, community, and stories that deserve to be seen. From capturing powerful portraits and unforgettable moments to helping curate a free art show that makes creativity accessible to everyone. Our guest believes photography is much more than about taking pictures. It's about celebrating people for who they are. Please welcome to the rainbow-tinted microphone, photographer and creative, Jimmy Anderson. Howdy, Jimmy.
Hi there. I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you for joining us. So, for listeners meeting you for the first time, who is Jimmy Anderson?
So I am an artist and photographer. I'm originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico, but I've been living in Phoenix since 2021 with my partner of 6 years now. I really enjoy photography. It's been something that's been a part of my life for my entire life, and I really enjoy working with people.
Now, how did growing up in Albuquerque and now calling Phoenix home, how have those two communities influenced your artistic style?
Absolutely. I've always been a desert rat. I really enjoy just the scenery, the terrain, especially when we're talking about car culture, which I'm a very large part of. There's a very unique vibe that the people have in the Southwest and a very strong sense of community overall. Furthermore, it is a very diverse community, so you can get all sorts of different backgrounds, all in this big mixing pot from people all over the world. And it gives you a lot of perspective for not only the life that you've lived, but that other people have lived and how everyone has their own unique story to tell.
So what are some differences that you see between Albuquerque and Phoenix, since they're both kind of Southwest-ish?
Good point. The Albuquerque is very much so a very large, small town, whereas Phoenix is a genuine city, especially if we're talking about the Phoenix metro at large. Phoenix, of course, is just much larger. There's a lot more nightlife. There's a lot more queer community as well. While it's not words. While Albuquerque, So while Albuquerque does have lots of different communities and stuff, it is sleepy. It is a very large, small town. Everybody knows everybody's business. You always know what's going to be happening this weekend and that weekend. But the sense of history that you get out there is incredibly strong, especially with artists that are known for the Southwest, like Georgia O'Keeffe and figures like that, especially in northern New Mexico up in the mountains. And there's just this huge appreciation for artwork, history, and then Phoenix as well, you have a lot of appreciation for that culture as well. There's just a lot more going on and a lot more people. Within the valley, that's over 7 million people, and everyone has their own life and their own story to tell.
Now, you've mentioned that you're less interested in perfect poses and more interested in capturing something genuine. What do you do to help people relax enough for those authentic moments?
Yes, sir. So in a lot of different ways, I'm not afraid of being just a ham, if you will. I do take a lot of extra time to get to know my photo clients one-on-one, both during the shoot and before the shoot. So I allow extra time there. And honestly, I just try and make them laugh. There are times where someone gets incredibly nervous in front of the camera and they really aren't sure what they're doing. So I am teaching some basics of posing and some things that they can think about, but I'm just doing everything in my power to make sure that they're comfortable, that they're happy, that they feel like they're in control of the situation. Because they genuinely are. Paying clients, I'm there to take the photos that they want to achieve, and taking that extra time to either make them laugh, make them happy, make them feel good about themselves. It brings out that inner sparkle that I know everyone has inside them. It just is a little hard for them to find it sometimes.
I can totally understand and relate to that. When we go to Disney, we always get the photo pass because we love the photographers there, because they always have fun playing with Brian and I. And I say that because they don't just take our picture. They know we're in for it. Pose us however. And we have a lot of fun with that. And those are some of the best photos that we have that we've got like all over in our house.
Yeah. And I've heard this. I still have times that I struggle talking about my own work, sometimes in a positive light, but just repeating what I've been told by other people I've worked with, you can tell when someone is having fun on set. And that really does come through the photos. A real good, genuine smile is always going to be more impactful than the kind of stiff corporate style of photography that you see is so prevalent nowadays, where it's like, okay, shoulders back, be very straight, stare this direction.
Right.
And I do some coaching like that on set, but I like to take the time and just have fun with it because it is supposed to be fun.
Exactly. And how you connect to community and the person that you're shooting in the photography session, that comes across in the work that you do.
Absolutely. That's the goal. And I want to make sure everyone is pleased and they feel good about themselves, both during and after the session with their final photos. Sometimes that takes a little bit more work. Sometimes that takes a little bit less work, but it's a journey that I go on with my clients that I really enjoy.
What does photographing queer people in queer spaces mean to you personally?
Oh, gosh. So for me personally, it's definitely an act of vulnerability. And I'm a firm believer in, if you've heard of Brene Brown, she's gone on the record about how she's basically a doctor of psychiatry and things like this. She made a very famous TED Talk many years ago about how there's power in vulnerability and being genuine and being a wholehearted person. You have to have these moments where it might not be super comfortable, but that's where your power comes from. So in the queer community, especially someone who might be gender nonconforming or gender fluid or things like that, I'm trying to bring out the things that they feel really good about or might be nervous about in the session. I've definitely had people where I'm showing them the final photos and they are overwhelmed with how amazing they feel and how amazing the photos look. And I tell people when they cried when I've been showing them the final photos. And it's one of the most powerful feelings in the world. You know, you did your job when someone is so affected by the work that you did that they can't help but cry about it.
They're so moved.
Correct.
Now, Phoenix has an incredibly diverse community. What have you discovered through your camera that you think more people often overlook?
That is a really good question, and I am chewing on it. I apologize.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I think that how prevalent the queer community really is something that people don't always think about, especially being in the Southwest. And like I myself, I'm a blue dot in a red state. I've been a blue dot in a red state for most of my life as I've lived all over the country. And we're built a little bit different. And there is such a strong sense of power and confidence that is not always thought about when you're not afraid to stand up for what you believe in and go against the grain in so many different ways. There are, of course, people who are going to be more subtle in their identity and more people who are more overt as well. I think everybody deserves to be celebrated and be genuinely appreciated for who they are and the experiences that they have, whether that's very deliberately through photo work or through the work that they do.
Now, beyond photography, you're curating a art show, correct?
Yes, sir. So I was asked by, her name is Jackie. She is the director of a group called TAMC, which stands for Tempe Arts and Music Coalition. And the goal overall for TAMC is to be a no-cost resource and community center. They are based in Tempe, but it's for the entire Phoenix Valley, if you will. That way artists, especially artists who are either minorities, queer, or who may not have the same kind of financial backing that larger established artists have, they can still get their art out there, learn about how to market themselves, get into more galleries, and just show off their work and be more visible and make those connections that are so vital in an artistic career. They asked me this year to be one of the curators, and it's I, myself, and then another artist who was involved last year as well, for a show coming up that's called the Tempe Queer Takeover. It's coming up in September. I volunteered with them. Sorry.
You're fine.
I volunteered a lot with them last year for last year's Tempe Queer Takeover, and it was one of the first shows that I had entered into after leaving my corporate job to do my work full time. And I was really excited to be part of such a big community event. Last year, we had several hundred artists, and a lot of them, it was their first time ever being in a gallery at all. And just learning about people who are either just starting their art career or who have been doing it in the background for many years and they want to explore it more. And it is a really big community event as well. So if you're unaware, a lot of galleries will either charge commission fee or you have to pay them in order to have your artwork on display or for sale as part of a collection, whereas Tempe does not do any of that. So if your artwork does sell during the gallery, it's up to you how much you would like to pay commission. And if none is what you're comfortable with, and that's totally fine. It's a nonprofit and it's completely donation based as well. And the Rocket Space Gallery in Danielle Plaza, where she hosted for many years, is known as a home base for a lot of artists as well. They regularly have community events, different shows going on. There's almost always something on the calendar every single day.
And what can people expect when they come to visit this art show, the Queer Takeover?
So the Queer Takeover, it is a very diverse show. It's genuinely, we say, if you're a queer artist, submit your artwork and we'll do our best to accommodate it in the show. We are also partnered with the Tempe Noise Takeover, which is a music festival happening on that same time that takes over several bars in the area as well that are all within walking distance. And we do have artwork in display in those bars as well. And it's just this really big event that brings in music and art and people from all sorts of backgrounds. Last year, we had people who had been in galleries and museums all over the world. And then we had a lot of people where they had never shown their art before, or they were in school still, or were still discovering their own style. So there is no definitive modus operandi. It is, if you're a queer artist and you made this artwork yourself, please submit it. We will do our best to include it in the show. There is no limits otherwise.
So there's no particular theme. Is there a feeling that you're kind of hoping that people will go for, or it's queer related? Ergo, it's open
just
game.
queer related. We don't allow computer generate AI generated stuff. There's a limit on that, so it has to be made by humans. But otherwise, if you're an artist who is queer, please, I encourage you to submit. Last year, we had everything from sculpture to Tracy, who's also a curator this year, had this massive neon piece that took up an entire corner of the gallery that was spectacular. There's photography, there's sculpture, there's oil painting, charcoal, acrylic. The sky's the limit. So, and I know that can be a little intimidating, but again, we try and do our best to accommodate everybody who submits.
So for local artists that may be listening, what opportunities does this present? How does it work?
All of our submission stuff, it's posted on Instagram, so the flyer is live now, and we are actively accepting submissions at this time. There's a link that you follow that takes you to a Google form that you fill out. And it's just a really good way to start getting your name out there if you've never been in a gallery before. Because again, there's no cost. We're not charging anybody to have their artwork on display, and if you want to donate at that time, you can, or you can opt out. And it just makes it a much more attainable goal, because very high-end galleries and things like that, it's often a very high expense. And because we're community-based and it's a nonprofit, it makes it that much easier to start getting your name out there, to have your art on display, to be able to interact with other members in the community, not just artists, but also people who work in the art world, whether it's galleries and things like that, and really be a jumping off point for a career. I've had my artwork in their gallery multiple times as well, alongside some spectacular artists that genuinely deserve to have more of the limelight shined on them, that maybe they just didn't have the resources or the capital available to them in order to do so. That's ultimately the goal, is to make sure it's no cost and that everybody is welcome.
As someone who's trying to build a community radio station to feature our local artists, I understand.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, taking it back to photography, because today it's more accessible than ever. Now, by creating meaningful images is still an art form. What separates photography from simply looking good to one that tells a story?
Oh, gosh. When telling a story, there is definitely some composition tools that I myself use. Because like I said, I am a photographer that does my freelance work, but I am also an artist whose primary medium is photography. And when I'm making my artwork for myself, I'm pretty darn controlling. One might say a little anal retentive, but I'll do everything from making the costumes to building the set to having one I did recently had a friend of mine is a special effects makeup artist, and they came in and helped me dress and make a model look a very certain way to tell a story. So it's definitely a little bit of media literacy in there as well, which is a tool that you can develop. But sometimes it can also just kind of smack you over the face with, this is the meaning behind the work. But I use a lot of lenses and lighting and context as well to tell that story and achieve the feeling that I'm trying to achieve and the point that I'm trying to get across in different pieces of my artwork. I hope that makes sense.
It does. So now you photograph everything from headshots to community events, and you mentioned automotive work. How does changing subjects like that keep your creativity fresh? You're talking people, you're talking inanimate objects, you're talking groups of people. How do you keep a certain look but be dynamic?
Absolutely. And we can talk about personal style until we're blue in the face, but what in the world does that mean? A lot of it just comes from my own experience and the way that I like to have things composed or arranged in the frame, as well as just lighting, color, things like that. I myself, I'm very much so a light into dark person. I really like bold colors, very strong posing, basically everything in the frame is intentional. Granted, at an event, I have less control than I would over a shoot that I'm taking photos of a specific person for a piece of artwork, or if someone comes to me for a boudoir shoot as well, I have a lot more control over the composition and the final product. But when I have my camera in my hands and I'm looking through the lens, looking at the viewfinder, I'm thinking about everything going on in that photo. Whether that's the person in motion, whether they're speaking, the other people in the background. It's a lot to think about in a very short amount of time. And that's the beauty of digital photography as well, because I can take extra photos to make sure that I'm getting the perfect frame. A good example I use is over the course of an hour, I can capture anywhere from 800 to 1,000 images, but I'm only keeping maybe 100 of them if it's an event, if that makes sense.
It does.
Because I want to find the perfect shot.
Yeah. As
now,
someone
I did
who
learn
worked
to take photos on.
I was going to say, as someone who worked doing concert photography back in my radio days, yeah, like each act, there'd be 3 acts. I'd have 1,000 photos for each act, and I'd use 3 or 4.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for myself, because I've had a camera in my hand since I could walk practically. From a very young age, I learned to take photos. I learned to shoot on film. So I'm still doing as much work in camera as possible, but even when I'm shooting digital, but that digital also gives us the freedom to have that extra coverage just in case.
Right. Especially if you shoot raw. For those who know.
Which I do.
Now,
oh my gosh. I just had to upgrade the hard drive on my computer and I was like, oh gosh.
Is there a photo or session that you captured that stayed with you because of the story behind it?
Yes. So the example I used is I went to college in Kentucky, actually. And a good friend of mine out there, her name was Brandy. And just so you can keep in mind, this girl was a cheerleader and a ballerina for most of her life. She played soccer. She's just a beautiful person. She's actually a lawyer down in Florida now. But
she would have run from a song?
Oh, gosh, funny. But no, she hated photos of herself because she never felt good enough. She hated the way she looked in pictures. And it took me 3 years to convince her to let me take her picture. And she finally said, okay, let's do it. And we spent the day going around. She grew up in Louisville, Kentucky. And of course, we have the gorgeous field and the old architecture and stuff like that. So we just kind of spent the day going around, taking photos, having fun with the different dresses that she brought. And same thing, when I was showing her the final product, we were just in our cafeteria on our campus, and I had my laptop in front of me. She was sitting next to me, and I'm showing her the photos, and I feel her start to cry. And I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, this is the first time that I felt beautiful in a photograph before. I don't know how you did this, but thank you. And I remember holding her in that moment and going, this is the most amazing feeling in the world. I'm going to do this the rest of my life.
That's
so yeah,
awesome.
It stuck with me, and that's definitely a large part as to why I've stuck with photography for so long.
So giving you an opportunity to expand on that a bit here. So for someone who's listening, who's never stepped in front of a professional camera before because they're nervous or they think the same thing, that they're not photogenic, what do you say to them to encourage them to reach out to you?
Oh gosh. So I'm always willing to sit down and have a conversation with people. And like I said, getting in front of the camera is genuinely an act of vulnerability. And if someone needs to take their time and get comfortable and warm up, that is something that I'm willing to do to work with people. A lot of people, as soon as they get in front of my lens, they're like, oh, you need to ignore this. You need to ignore this. I hate my neck. I hate this. I hate that. And I'm like, okay, let's take a breath and let's center ourselves. And then I'm going to teach you different ways to move and pose. And then I myself am going to use the lighting and the lensing and the angles and the composition to make sure that I'm highlighting the beautiful pieces of you. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and then sometimes we get it right away. And both cases are spectacular. I really love that. But I myself as well still to this day struggle to get in front of the lens for myself. And it's something that has been ingrained in me since a young kid. We are bombarded in today's world with advertising and media and models and hooked on the look and things like that, that it can create.
There's so
and
much
drive this
content that it's seeping out everywhere.
Yes, and it's just this constant bombardment. And again, I'm not free from this as well. There are definitely times where I don't feel good about myself, and it is a struggle to either get in front of the lens or work with people. But if working through that and leaning into the discomfort is how I'm able to explore that and say, okay, why do I not feel good about myself today? I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. I enjoy working with people, and these conversations that we have really drive what I do and how I can make people feel good about themselves, both in the end product and during the actual process itself. But it is definitely scary. Even people that I've worked with that are seasoned models, it is scary getting in front of the camera, especially with a new person that you might not know as well. And it is an act of bravery and an act of vulnerability. But when you're living a wholehearted life, that power comes from realizing, okay, in order to lean into my power, I have to lean into the discomfort.
It's funny because, yes, you mentioned models. They too get nervous in front of a camera, even though it doesn't look like it. Because if it's someone that they haven't worked with before, because it's their brand that's on the line in these photos. and after it's taken, models don't get any control after that.
Exactly.
So that's a misnomer that some people don't quite understand that I kind of learned. So anyways, looking ahead, what projects or collaborations are you excited about, aside from, of course, the art show coming up?
Oh, the art show is definitely a really big one. I also am working with one that I'm looking forward to is the one I connected with at a business networking event is building her chocolatier business, and she makes custom cookies and custom chocolate stuff. She's never done branding and things like that before. And then I've made a couple friends as well. A good friend of mine, her name is Sunny. She is an esthetician. Literally, I'm teaching her how to make TikToks and how to record videos on her phone and make them look good without being too synthetic and too forced. Because same thing, she struggles to be in front of the camera as well. So I'm definitely working with as much community as I can, because everyone deserves to feel good and everyone deserves to have a light shine on them and really show off their own beauty and their own inner sparkle.
And where can listeners learn more about your photography or connect with you online? What are your socials?
So everything is Jimmy Anderson Creative. That includes Facebook and Instagram, and my website is jimmyandersoncreative.com. I don't use Twitter, which is a whole other can of worms we can get into.
Oh, yep.
But the big ones are Facebook and Instagram. Otherwise, my information is on my website, jimmyandersoncreative.com. You can submit a form on that website saying, hey, I want to work with Jimmy. These are the photography that I'm looking for. And I'm also out and about a lot, either going to business owner networking events, because that's something you have to do as an entrepreneur, which I'm like, oh yeah, I have to figure out how to pay my bills on my own now.
Right.
As well as different art shows and stuff like that. Most of September, I'm going to be down at the Rocket Space Gallery, setting up the show itself at Danielle Plaza. So that'll be a good idea of where to find me at that point as well.
And where can people get details about the art show again?
So it's the Tempe Arts and Music Instagram. That's the same thing. If you just Google Tempe Arts and Music, it'll usually pop up. The flyer, an artist named Celeste did the artwork for a flyer, and it is spectacular. It's definitely this combination of kind of art, music, queer history, local desert feelings and vibes. The submissions are due August 15th, and we have been able to extend that in the past a little bit, just FYI, as long as you communicate ahead of time. Don't call me on that, but the submissions due August 15th. And then we will reach out to artists directly as well in between that time. And then the days where you bring the art into the gallery to drop it off are going to be September 5th and 6th. And same thing, usually there's a little bit of grace. If you can bring it in by the 7th, that's okay. We're not too strict. Just as long as you communicate actively that things are happening. The gallery opening itself is going to be September 10th. And then the Tempe the Tempe Noise Takeover, the music festival that happens, is the 18th and 19th, and the 19th is technically the closing date for the show itself as well. But I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun. Last year was just a blast. And again, I met amazing people that had never had their artwork in galleries or had never been in a gallery at all, or really didn't know what to expect. And okay, we're gonna walk through this together.
I can't wait to see what you get submitted. Maybe I'll take some of my drawings and submit something. Who knows?
Please, absolutely, send everything.
I have a little digital sketches. So anyways, Jimmy, thank you so very much for joining us today and taking time out of your busy schedule.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Another reason we love this community.
I'm Daddy Dave, your friend in the fight to end stigma, and I'm the founder of Team Friendly, here today to talk about health and intimacy. Talking about sexual health doesn't have to be awkward. It can actually be empowering and even, dare I say, sexy. Being open with your partner builds trust, confidence, and connection, and therefore more pleasure. Start simple. Share your story, ask permission to ask questions, and talk about what safety means to you in a way that feels natural. Keep it friendly, not formal. It's not an inquisition, it's a conversation. Remember, everyone deserves to feel safe and respected. There's no shame in knowing your body, getting tested, treating your HIV or an STI, or setting boundaries. In fact, that's all something to be proud of. So keep it honest, keep it respectful, and keep it friendly. Because when we talk openly about sexual health, we're not just protecting ourselves, we're taking care of each other.
Pride lives here.
And that's going to do it for this week's episode. First off, thank you to Jimmy Anderson for taking the time to join us and reminding us that photography can do so much more than capture a moment. It can help people see the beauty that's been there all along. Don't forget that if you're an artist and you want to get your work seen, go to gayphx.com/art show by August 15th to be a part of the Tempe Queer Takeover. And now, to you. Thank you for listening. I say it a lot, but I don't think that I say it enough. Without you, what we do is just words floating through the air. You choosing to listen, to share an episode, to tell a friend, or to show up at community events and support the people that we feature gives all of this meaning. You make these conversations real. GayPHX has never been about being a website, a podcast, or a radio stream. It's always been about building a stronger, more connected community. Every download, every stream, every message that you send, every event that you attend, it reminds us why we keep showing up behind these microphones. So thank you for your time, for your encouragement, for your support, and for letting us be a small part of your week. Don't forget, you can listen to GayPHX 24 hours a day with interviews, LGBTQ music, community news, local programming anytime at gayphx.com or via TuneIn and other streaming apps. Keep an eye out for those daily live check-ins we've been talking about. I can't wait to be spending more time with you. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, support your local LGBTQ plus community whenever you can. And if you see us out and about, come grab a selfie with us. We love you, Phoenix.
We're together, the sun is bright, and there's nowhere better than by your side. We're together, the sun is bright, and there's nowhere better than by your side.
Thanks for hanging out with the GayPHX Podcast. Be kind. Be bold. Be you.